capitalism's coming towards the end of its life cycle. I suppose when you look at capitalism historically and you study capitalism as a historical concept, it's a bit like dropping a pebble in a pond. I think what's happening now is it's hit the edge of the pond and it's rippling back in again. And that rippling back in effect is capitalism trying to create new markets or new profits through grabbing and privatizing state assets. The reason why they're coming for water is because it's the latest asset they want to pick off, and eventually they'll come for everything. The world is in a difficult position. Things aren't getting better, they're only getting worse. And I know the forces ranged against us are immense, but we have to think beyond capitalism in order to save not just the world, but our species as part of that.
And I worry long term, probably about my grandchildren, which I hope I'll have, or my great-grandchildren. I worry about the planet, because it's clear to me that the dominant economic model, neoliberalism, is at war with the natural planet.
Anti-capitalism isn't necessarily a position, a doctrinaire leftist Marxist tradition. It's becoming a very realistic position for an awful lot more people. And you're seeing that in Ireland, you're seeing that across the globe as people join social movements. They're not quoting dead Russians, but they are concerned about the future of the planet, and the system that's eating up the planet is capitalism. I don't trust the market to come up with the solutions that we need. I do trust us democratically to come up with the solutions that we need, but I don't trust the market to do that.
We basically set up our society on the premise that we will look after employers and major corporations, and everybody else should be a slave to the system. And that's where the problem fundamentally lies. It's ideology. It's extreme right-wing neoliberal ideology that has made our country what it is.
So are you an anti-capitalist then?
I would consider myself somebody who's very, very critical of capitalism, and anybody who isn't and thinks that we can moderate or create some new society based on fair capitalism is ignoring that capitalism exists with power structures in place. And the problem is ordinary people and workers don't have the power. You're given a vote once every 5 years. That's not democracy. And capitalism does not exist in order to provide people with democracy.
For the first time in human history, the top 1% of the world's population will own more wealth than the rest. That's an Oxfam report. Now, the money hasn't gone. The money's moving up. So if the money's moving up, the rest of us are, to some extent, suffering from austerity.
So it doesn't really matter who you put into whatever your executive is called or whatever your parliament is called, because power shifted somewhere else. Power shifted upwards to supranational bodies like the IMF and the EU and the World Bank. And they make decisions about the rest of our lives over which we have absolutely no control. We need to draw that power back. One of the ways is through political democracy, the other way is through economic democracy.
What I want to see is a society that isn't sociopathic. A society where people are cherished and looked after, from they come into the world till they leave the world. And where if there's a crisis, an economic crisis, a health crisis, a pandemic, whatever it is, whatever happens, a natural disaster, whatever it happens to be, that we're all in it together and we pull together. That might sound to some of your viewers, because I'm aware this might air in the United States, this will air in the United States, that might sound as socialism. It's not socialism, it's humanity. It's humanity.